So, Carl, one of the things you wanted about this 30th anniversary season was the repertory and, well, explain the connection with Dennis and this 30th anniversary season.
Well, you know, during my 30th anniversary season, I wanted to say thank you. Basically, it's a season of saying thank you to everyone who's invested time in me, whether it's Bernstein or John Williams, pieces that I've just really enjoyed conducting and making the music of with members of the Pacific Symphony, and also to feature some of our artists. And of course, Dennis, in his second season as concertmaster with us, I really wanted to feature Dennis, who had played earlier with Meredith Crawford, the Mozart Sinfonia Concerto, but I wanted to feature him, and specifically these two works. And I'll let Dennis talk about, especially Ravel and Tzigane, but it's been a great year. I'm sorry we didn't get to finish it, but it started out with me being offered the opportunity to say thank you to the subscribers, to our Pacific Symphony family, of course, to the wonderful colleagues and musicians and friends, and also to feature some of our artists and members such as Dennis.
So, Dennis, about the works you play on this program, the introduction in Rondo Capriccioso by Saint-Saëns, he wrote it in 1863. Can you describe, walk people through who might not know the work very well?
Sure. I mean, just to continue a little bit on what Carl said, when he told me he wanted me to play in his 30th anniversary, I was first of all very grateful and happy. But I would have totally understood, you know, if he had said, you know, this is my 30th anniversary. I have so many friends and people that I've known my whole life coming in. So I hope you understand. But it was a great honor to be a part of the 30th anniversary season and to play these two pieces that I've had a chance to play in all over the world. I had a chance to play this in Korea. I've had a chance to play this in Finland. Actually, the Tzigane I played with my orchestra in Tampere, which when they went to Helsinki to play, so that was a great honor. It's like when Pacific goes to Carnegie Hall and brings their own soloist kind of thing. So I've had a chance to play this here and there. And for me, the Rondo Capriccioso is an amazing piece, but it really needs a great conductor, because there's a lot of places where the soloist is free and the conductor's got to be right on his toes. And I was so happy that, as you know, we don't have many rehearsals, but you know, to do it in 1 or 2 rehearsals and to have Carl and the orchestra be right with me in every concert was a true pleasure making music on stage with Carl and all the other musicians.
I will say that both of these works are not easy accompaniments.
Exactly.
Because, you know, you want to allow the soloist as much freedom as possible. And I remember when I first met Dennis, one of our very first initial meetings, he played the introduction, the cadenza at Ravel's Tzigane, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is really a fantastic, such a wonderful artist. And actually we met when I was a guest conductor with the Baltimore Symphony. And, you know, I fell in love with Dennis's music making from the get-go, just from the very first start. We were playing Brahms' Third Symphony, right, Dennis? I think we were, right. And it was just a great joy to make music with him. So to accompany him in these two great concerti was really a joy for me as well.
So the Saint-Saëns was written for Sarasate. I guess the two of them, Saint-Saëns and Sarasate, met when Sarasate was like 15 years old. He was already a prodigy at the violin. And this is music written for someone who liked fireworks, right? I mean, this is virtuoso music for the violin in every possible sense.
Right, no, it's all of a map. It's up staccato, there's double stops, there's fast notes, there's a lyrical section at the beginning. So basically it's a small Olympics for the violinist. And for me, when I lived in Europe, I had a chance to play in Pamplona, where Sarasate lived. So there's that also connection. And for me, this is a piece that I learned when I was young, but every time I play it's something a little bit new. And like I said, playing with a great conductor it's a lot easier, because I played it with some less great conductors and it's not as fun.
Yeah. About the Ravel, I mean, you were saying, Carl, that it's difficult to accompany. You could be out at the soda machine for the first half of it.
Well, for the first three and a half minutes or something like that. But then we have to unite, you know. But there's a specific reason I'd asked Dennis to perform Tzigane for our audience, and that's, I'm going to let Dennis say why that is, because his instrument and Dennis and the piece have a very close relationship.
So I play the Tzigane Stradivarius, 1701 Tzigane Stradivarius, and Tzigane was Samuel Tzigane, who was a great violinist in his own right and a friend of Stravinsky. He premiered this Tzigane. So we're not 100% sure if it was with this violin because he owned a few violins, but for our sake, it was definitely this violin that he premiered the Tzigane with. But I've had a chance to have this violin for the last 13, 14 years now, and it's yes, not only the Ravel Tzigane, but whenever I play anything Stravinsky, I think that the spirit of Stravinsky is in this violin. And so when Carl asked me to play this, it was I love this piece, and I've had a chance to play this also in a few different places. So it's a piece that I remember when Carl first asked me when he offered me the job. He's like, "Well, if you were playing a concerto, what's the first thing you would play?" And without hesitation, I said Tzigane. So that's what happened this time, and I think it went well. And the orchestra was so subtle and so sensitive, and to have a conductor right with me the whole time was a pleasure making music like that.
You know, it struck me when I was listening to this again the other day that Ravel had this thing about orchestral pieces with solos with no orchestra, because there are two famous places where Ravel lets the orchestra sit back and the soloist has the field. And one is the first 3 minutes or so of Tzigane, and the other place is the slow movement of the Ravel piano concerto in G.
And also the left-hand concerto.
Right, exactly.
At the beginning of the left-hand concerto for piano.
Yeah, he just seemed to have this empathy and this simpatico for the soloist, and really allows the soloist to truly be a soloist for a while. If for those who don't know Ravel's Tzigane, we've sort of made allusions to the fact that there is no orchestra for the first couple of minutes. Can you take folks through it, Dennis, just to let people know what they can expect with Tzigane?
Yeah, in Tzigane, it's interesting because you start out on the G string, and the whole first page is basically on the G string. This is the lowest string on the violin, and it's all over the place. There's harmonics, there's left-hand pizzicato, there's like the Rondo Capriccioso, it's all over the map. But the first page especially is all on the G string, and it's sometimes very high on the G string. So it can sound a little awkward, but it creates so many different colors. And I remember when I first heard this piece, it was at a competition, and I was maybe 12 or 13, and someone in the senior division was playing it. And my teacher said, "This is one of the hardest pieces in the violin repertoire." And that got me thinking. I was like, well, if this is one of the hardest, I'm going to try to learn it. And so that's how it started. Yeah, like I said, it's everything on the violin that you can do on the violin, and all these different colors. And so it's a great chance to just sit in front of the orchestra and kind of it's a little cadenza and kind of improvise. And then my colleagues join me later, so it's a crazy whirlwind ending, again with amazing orchestration, colors, huge brass section in this small little piece. So it's a real fun piece to play.
You know, Rich, you know, we're throwing this word Tzigane around like everybody knows what it means, but I mean, it's actually a gypsy, and actually a feminine gypsy, because yes. Ravel was at a concert where Béla Bartók was the pianist and Zseli Arényi was the violinist. And after the concert, asked her to play some Hungarian folk tunes. And this is where he got this whole idea. So there's a lot of that Hungarian kind of almost like the language, some kind of colors in the way that it's performed, right, Dennis?
Exactly. And the whole opening is this kind of yada instead of da-da. So like Carl said, it's, I think, kind of imitating the language in this this folksy gypsy kind of stuff. So and it's all over the whole piece, this kind of rhythm and in different colors.
What I find interesting about it is that when he wrote the piece in 24, it wasn't even an orchestral piece. He wrote the piece originally for violin and piano, and I think of it now and realizing he just didn't say, let's expand it. I mean, the orchestration, like you said, is so colorful and so exotic and so flamboyant. I mean, it's one of his greatest orchestral creations, really, in many ways, as well as being a virtuoso piece for the violin.
Well, as you well know, Ravel was a fastidious orchestrator. And I would encourage all of your listeners, you could go on YouTube and take a tour of Ravel's home. there's about a 5-minute tour where someone is talking to you about every room and about every little specific thing. And I will tell you, his house and how everything was so well adorned and everything had its place is exactly what happens in one of his scores. You know why every note, why every dot, dash, every diminuendo, every combination of instruments, you know why it's there. It's because it's painting. He's painting something for us.
Yeah. The this concert was, I'm trying to think of any of the other 5 of the first half of the season where you got a chance to solo a little bit. There was one piece where there was a significant, it wasn't the Berlioz Symphonie Fantastique, I'm thinking, and it wasn't the Beethoven 7. One of the other pieces on that first half, I seem to remember that it was a chance for you to shine as well. And I'm looking over that first half of the season and I'm not seeing it now. Do you remember it by any chance?
I don't remember that, but I can tell you that Dennis made his debut as the official concertmaster of the Pacific Symphony playing Ein Heldenleben. So, and that was in the season just prior. And I sort of worked this out and I told everybody, when you play in Heldenleben, when we play from rehearsal 22 to rehearsal 32, you'll know exactly why Dennis Kim is the new concertmaster of the Pacific Symphony. And when we got to rehearsal 32, which of course is the end of this long, the longest of all orchestral solos, the whole orchestra applauded. So I don't know if you're referring to that, but that was definitely that.
Yeah.
And Carl, now you're breaking my heart because, you know, this summer, maybe right about now, we're supposed to play Scheherazade.
Exactly.
And I've been looking forward to that. And if we were outside, I'd be sweating, but, you know, to play Scheherazade in front of thousands of people, this is something I was looking forward to. And hopefully we'll get a chance to do it soon.
We will, for sure.
Before we let you go, what kind of repertory are you doing right now as you are? By the way, for those just joining us, we are 1 hour, not now, 40 minutes prior to the KUSC broadcast of concerts number 2 from the Pacific Symphony's 2019-20 season. Dennis Kim, concertmaster, featured in Tzigane by Ravel and the introduction in Rondo Capriccioso by Saint-Saëns. And he is talking to us live from Korea. So what other repertory, because you're there for festivals, what kind of stuff are you playing? You said the Brahms, the second sextet, and what else?
And then the Mendelssohn Octet.
Oh,
yeah, so it's again, it's amazing music and a chance to play with live musicians, not over Zoom and not pre-recorded. It'll be a great thrill. And like I said, if the first rehearsal I think will be very emotional. Some of the members I haven't met yet, but some of the people that I know, to be in a room and without masks, you know, rehearsing, this is going to be something very special. And hopefully we can do something like this very soon back in the U.S.
I can't wait.
Dennis, thank you so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Hey,
No, it's my pleasure, and please be safe.
Yeah, be safe, friend, and we'll see you back in Orange County.
Definitely. Take care.
All right.
All
Ciao.
right.